So I think we should be live now. Just bringing my picture up. So not sure how many of them are watching. If you're watching, just drop a hello or hi in the live chat so that I can know that at least somebody is watching. So I just tweeted it out. So let me just double check that I'm live now. Right? Yeah, I hope so. I'm live. So let me just check the quality of it. I could just crank it up to 720 because after that it doesn't handle that amount of video quality. Cool then, guys. So like let me also check like how many of them are watching. So I didn't just check that particular thing. Okay. Let's see that at least some of them are watching. Good. Then, okay, two of them are watching right now. So maybe I'm one of them. I don't know. Right. Cool. So cool, awesome. Thanks, Aditya. So there's gonna be a little bit of difference between the live stream and the chat. So let me set the context about what we are gonna be trying to do today. So today I will be showing a way by which you can make your local development much easier with Docker. But it has been ages that Docker has come out, but there is no easy way to use Docker for uh, easier local development. It has been always been hustle. So I have built a tool that is kind of going to help us to get over that hustle and make the usage of Docker easier in local development. So to showcase that, today I'm going to pick up a Munstack application, which is a simple to-do application, and show you that without installing Node or MongoDB or anything locally, you can do everything from Docker. And there's gonna be no headache that you install something and it didn't get reflected in your system or there are any errors, and you also want to manage multiple versions of your software. So all those things are gone with Envase. So let me quickly start things up. So before showing the demo, what you would actually need would be Docker installed, and then you would need Envase installed. So you can download Envase from the official website, from the GitHub repository. You can find executable for your own platform. Currently we support Mac, Linux and Windows because it runs on Electron. Cool. So this is the application that I forked from an example that someone called Rakshit did. It was a great application, so I thought let me just fork it and then show you a demo. Cool. So what I'm going to do is that first of all I'm going to clone the repository. I have my item open over here, so I'm gonna do it inside sandboxes, which should be inside my documents. So let me just clone this repository first. So I just clone the repository. I'm gonna try to open that in VS Code. Sorry, I need to just change the directory first and then try to open it in VS Code. So it's a basic Munstack application. You have the React code inside SRC. You have a plain old create React app running this whole React application. Then you have a server, which is a Node.js server, which connects to MongoDB to store your to-do. So it's get persisted whenever you reload the page or application or you run your stuff, right? So it's connecting to MongoDB using Mongoose. So that's the whole idea of the application. It's a very straightforward, simple application. Now we're gonna set up this entire application without even installing anything locally. So that's the whole idea. So let's try to do that. So the first thing that I would need obviously to run the entire application is Node.js, right? So let's just try to install Node locally. Right, so for that, after you have downloaded Envase, after you have opened it, you can find Node under all apps, right? So you can just find node by just searching in the search box. So I'm gonna click create. Then I'm gonna name it as to app. So, and then I need to select a folder where all my projects reside. So I'm gonna choose it's in the documents sandboxes. Okay, then I'm gonna need to choose what version of node I'm gonna use. I'm gonna use 10 version, so 10.23.0. So I can click on view all version tags. That gonna take me to Docker Hub, and or it will show me all possible versions that I can use. In Docker we call them as tags. So you can search for them. For example, if you search for 10, you'll see all the available version for 10. Okay, so that's one handy link. Then you need to also expose some ports from the container. So for example, when you run a create react app, you need 3000 port, and the server runs on 8000 ports. I'm going to expose those two ports for you. So this is a important step, because by default all your ports in containers are not exposed. You can't hit a container ports without exposing it. So this step does that. And when you click on create, what's going to do is that if it's not available locally, if that particular Docker image is not available locally for you, it's going to go over to Docker Hub and download it. So you can have a quick check on what are the logs it has. So it's going to take a couple more seconds to do that. After that, it's going to extract the image. Cool. So now if I cancel the search, head over to my apps, you can see a new app created for Node.js called To app. I can just click play, and a new terminal pops up in front of me, and this entire terminal is running inside Docker. So I can prove you that, like if I go to my item again and I say Docker ps, you can see that there is a node container running right now, and that's this right away. So this is the container that is running. Now I can do all the old Linux stuffs, change directories. So the project folder I chose is actually under this folder. So if I switch to projects and ls into it, I can see my munstack to app. So now if I switch into munstack to app, unless I can see my create react app. So the first thing I would want to do is obviously install all the dependencies. So let me install the dependencies for the create react app. Meanwhile, I'm going to create a new tab, and then move over to projects, then the Manstrack application, and I need to navigate into server, and I need to also do npm install here. So I'm going to do npm install over here also. That's going to npm install all the server dependencies, and this is going to install all the client dependencies. So this is all happening inside the Docker container. This node and this npm is not installed locally. If you were to do it locally, you need to go to the official website, read their docs, download the binary, install it. All those hurdles gone. You just created an app, gave some configurations filled some configuration in the form, and you right away have a node to work with. So the server has already been installed, server dependencies. Now we can start the server by just running index.js file. So if I try to run index.js file, it's most probably going to throw an error because there's no MongoDB it can connect to. So let's wait for that error. So obviously it said that it can't connect to MongoDB network because connection refused at this particular port, because we are not running any MongoDB. So that's what we're gonna do next. We need MongoDB to run this full stack application. So I'm gonna go back to Envase. Now I need MongoDB locally. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just search for MongoDB over here. I have it over here. So I'm gonna give it a name. So I'm gonna give it sudo appdb, and then the default port that MongoDB runs on. So I just clicked outside of it. So sudo app DB, and the default port that MongoDB runs on is this. You can change it, but I'm going to leave it as such. So you can choose a path where you want MongoDB to store all its database files locally. It's optional though, but when you don't do this, if you delete the app, your data is going to be lost. But that's fine if you are doing for a hobby hobby app. So I'm going to choose a version of MongoDB I want 4.4.2. And again, I'm not going to expose any ports because 27017 is going to be exposed by default. So I'm going to click create now. So it's again pulling the MongoDB from the Docker Hub. Hey Vivek, hey Gautam, thanks for joining. Cool, so the MongoDB app has been created, so I can just click on play and it should start my MongoDB. I can, there is a handy link by clicking on the gear icon. You can see a lot of things that you can do with this app. So first thing is that have an info about what your app is all about, like what version you used, which data directory you choose and all those stuff. And you can also see the logs of the container. So this you can use to know whether MongoDB was up and running, is there any error in your container and things like that. Okay. Now if I go to my item and do docker ps, you can see there are two containers running right now. One is MongoDB and it is Node. All you did was just fill up a form. Everything is taken care by Envase. Cool, right? So now let me go back to my VS Code. So if you see, like whenever I'm doing a local development to connect to a local MongoDB, what I would do is just use localhost. Since we are talking about containers here, container talking to containers, all the change you need to do to use Envase to connect to MongoDB is just use your app name. So instead of using localhost, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to use my app's name of MongoDB. So if your MongoDB is called todo appdb, you just need to change the host name to todo app DB. That's it. All you need to do to use this MongoDB that we created through Envase is to just use todo app DB, the name of the MongoDB in your host, and all our configuration is gonna remain the same, right? No change needed. No need to confuse your mind how I'm gonna connect the MongoDB with my Node.js container. Nothing. That everything is handled by Envase. You need to just change the host name to the name of your MongoDB app. Cool. Now if we did everything right, let's try to run our server application again. If it's able to connect to MongoDB, there shouldn't be any error. It should say the server started successfully. Yep, and it does so, and it says that the server is running in 8000. Now let's have a look at our client application. I think we're still installing a few more packages, and it's done. Now it's a typical create React app. So what I can do is that I'm going to just say npm start, and this is gonna quickly start our create React app. So this is gonna start our front end in port 3000, and it should be up in a moment. So while this happens, if you guys have any questions around like what Envase is, if I'm going really fast, you can put that in chat. I will be happy to answer, or like any suggestions if you guys have. That's also welcome. Cool. I think few more seconds you should be ready. Yep, I think the front end is up. So let me go to let me just take the chat to another window so that I can have a look at it. Right, so I'm going to go to across 3000. Our to app is running. So let me just say by X. Click on add, and it got added. I can say buy more X. Click add, and it's and it's getting added. If I can open a network tab and show you guys how it's happening, if I click on add again, it's making request to the server, and it's getting back the response, right? So let me just close this up, and like milk add. Now if I try to reload the page, you can see that that data doesn't go up, because this means that data is being persisted into the MongoDB, right? Now you have successfully run a full stack application without installing Node, without installing MongoDB or anything like that, without going through the installation guides, anything like that. Just you came like an app store, you installed it, and that's it, right? Now the second thoughts that you might be having is that, okay, I'm running MongoDB. Am I really sure that the data is getting stored? I want to, like, inspect the data that is getting stored in MongoDB. I want to use another app that helps me with that. So one app that can do is called Mongo Express. It's kind of a PHP management for MongoDB. It gives you overview of what are the databases, what are the documents that you have stored inside it, right? So now if you again go through the normal procedure of installing that in your local system, you keep on adding it, installing multiple things just to build a simple to app or a simple Munstack app. But in Envase, what you can do is that you can just click on create. Now you can choose the MongoDB that you want to connect to. This is just to do app DB. So now Envase figures out that the MongoDB Express app that you are spinning up is want to connect to this particular MongoDB, and it's going to show you all the content that particular DB has. Right. So I'm going to say to do app Explorer. So this is going to show us the data, what are the data that are stored in that particular database, and this particular website is going to be available in the port 8081, right? And then I'm gonna use a particular version called 0.54. You can always use this link, there's no doubt in that. You can click on create, and this is gonna again go ahead, pull the particular image, done. So if I go over to my apps, now if I start the Explorer app, Envase is going to take few seconds and figure out that it's up and running. Once it's done, it gives you the app in your URL. Now you can see that we have a to-dos database. Inside that we have 3 documents by X, by more X milk. Now you're sure that the data was persisted in MongoDB, right? So what you did, you just connected this to this, and all the 3 are running as containers. So I can show you that too. So if I go back and just say docker ps, all the 3 are running as containers, and each of them are talking to each other, and you did nothing that are related to Docker. You just used Envase, and you just said Envase that what version of the app you need, what database you need, what app you need, that particular app, where should it connect to, which database it should connect to, right? So that's the whole idea. Now if you tomorrow decide that, okay, I'm gonna I'm done with learning Munstack, I'm not gonna use Munstack anymore, what you can do is that you can stop all your applications, just delete them, and it's gonna be gone for good. Like there is nothing that is left in your local system that is lurking behind. You just deleted the containers and your system is clean. If you do install locally, you would go through a hassle to uninstall them and clear all the files, right? But in Docker there is no hassle for that. You just click on delete and it's done, gone. So that's the demo I wanted to show you, that you took a full stack application, you just created a simple app, you installed dependencies, you connected to an external database, and used another application to explore the data in the database, all without leaving Envase, all without using a single line of Docker command. So hope that was helpful. I will probably show you another good demo of using WordPress in Envase without any local installations. We'll probably go to that. Before that, if you guys have any kind of questions around this, so Vivek has asked me about the repo link. Sure, I will share you the repo link. It lives under Amel Hacker Envase. Yep. So that's one part of an idea where you have a local Yeah, thanks, Aditya. I know. So I've also gone through the thing that you install multiple things in the idea of learning, and we end up having a lot of things in your computer, and that keeps slowing you down. But with Envase, you just install whatever you want. You just learn at your own space, and you just delete it. Cool. So let's do another quick demo where I'm going to show you another full stack application, but it's not much related to code. But let's say you are a WordPress developer, right? Or you want to learn WordPress, you need to go through tedious installation processes, and you need to install multiple like MySQL database, and you also want something to see what is the data that is stored in MySQL, right? So let me give you a quick demo on how you can avoid that altogether. Okay, so first of all, to use WordPress, like if you click on WordPress, it's gonna ask me a MySQL database because WordPress uses MySQL as its backend to persist data, right? So first what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a MySQL database. So I'm going to call it as WordPress DB, and I'm going to leave the port same as I want, and I'm going to give a password for my root user in MySQL. I'm going to give the password as test, and I'm going to leave the storage as optional. I'm fine if the data is lost when I delete the application. I'm going to use 8.0.22 version of it. I'm going to click create. So this is going to install MySQL using Docker. Now if you see, like if you wanted MySQL, you also wanted MongoDB, you are already installing two database in your system, right? So Envase helps you that you don't care about what things you install. Envase takes care of you for that. It's kind of an app store for that, right? So now MySQL is installed. Let me start MySQL. Let me go and see the logs. If it is initializing properly, you can have a look at the logs and see that it's creating the database and it's starting the server. As soon as the server is ready, we can go ahead and create WordPress. Awesome. So my SQL server is running. Now let me go and create a WordPress instance. So I'm gonna use my WordPress DB, my SQL database to connect to it, and I'm gonna name it as my WordPress. And WordPress is gonna be available at port 38080. You can change this if you want. And the MySQL database I'm gonna connecting to the which is this WordPress DB. Its username is root, and the password as I created was test, and the database that I'm gonna connect to I'm gonna call it as WordPress site. Cool. So now I'm gonna choose a version for it. I'm not sure which version to use, so let me just see that in the Docker Hub. So what version I'm gonna use? Probably I will use this PHP 7 point Apache. So that should be fine, I think. Yep. So I'm gonna use that, and I'm gonna click create. So let it pull the WordPress. Yep, it's done. Now if I go ahead and start my WordPress, Envase is again gonna check it and open it in a new browser whenever the WordPress is ready. So you can see WordPress is ready. It's just asking me about what language I want to use. I want to use English. I'm gonna name it as maybe Amit Portfolio. The username is gonna be admin. Password is going to be a little tricky. Let's try test. No, it's not accepting that. So let's just say I'm gonna call it WordPress 786. Alright, does that work? That's fine with me. Just copy that. If it allows weak password, I'm fine with test actually. So I'm gonna use my official email, and I'm gonna install WordPress. Okay, so I'm going to log in with admin and my chosen password. So I'm going to say admin and test password. Remember me, login. Yep, I'm I'm already in WordPress. I installed nothing locally. I have a total WordPress running from a container. So I can show you that. I can just have docker ps command. You can see WordPress is running and it's connecting to MySQL. Then now again the question comes like how I can see what is the data that is actually stored in MySQL, right? So traditionally we use phpMyAdmin for that. We use phpMyAdmin to connect to a MySQL database to see where what data is stored. Again, Envase is there to save you. So you can find phpMyAdmin also as an app. You can click create. I'm going to connect to MySQL database. I'm going to name it as my php myadmin, and it's gonna be available in port 8080. I'm just thinking if there are any other. Yeah, we also have WordPress running in 8080, so maybe I will change this to 8081. That's the port I want to run, and the MySQL username is gonna be root and the password is gonna be test. And what version shall I use? Let me check it out, what versions they have. Did I land on a wrong page or is it time to load? Okay, it took time to load, so I'm going to use 4.9.7 or 4.9, that should be good. So let me use 4.9 and click create. Cool. Now let me just start the phpMyAdmin, and again Envase it's going to detect that phpMyAdmin is ready, and it already opened it in my browser. You can see the database it has connected to, and you can see our WordPress site database already here. So this database it has connected to is running as a container, and this phpMyAdmin automatically connected to the container, and it's showing you all the data it had. And this WordPress page that you're seeing, it is connected to that MySQL database, and you had nothing to do to set this up. Everything is done by Envase behind the scenes. Now if I do docker ps, you can see that there are three containers running. One is phpMyAdmin, one is WordPress, one is MySQL. All three connected to each other, interacting with each other, and you can use a single docker command. You can just stop phpMyAdmin, stop your WordPress, stop your MySQL database, just delete them. You're done and dusted for learning WordPress. Yeah, so that's the whole idea of Envase. There's like around I think 20 to 25 apps that you can use, like from various databases to various applications and languages. So if you want to learn Go, or you want to learn Node.js, you can just create them, and it's going to give you a terminal in your particular container, and you can run all your apps without even installing anything. So that's the whole idea of Envase, and I hope it was kind of intriguing. I'm still open for any suggestion or ideas that you guys have. So you guys can comment. I will probably answer for the next 5 minutes, and we will probably close this stream. So there's a 10-second lag around what I talk and what I get in chat. So I'm just waiting for a few minutes before I close the stream. I think nobody has any questions, but feel free to have a look at this particular repository and try it locally. I'm almost planning to release it probably end of this year. I'm not sure, but it's currently running in beta, and you can feel free to download and install it. But all you need to do is that have Docker already installed and running, so that Envase can talk to Docker and do whatever you actually want without any headache, right? and there is continuously there's gonna be more apps that are gonna be coming into Envase. So I can give you a small idea how I accomplished this in Envase. So if I open Envase's source code, you can see a folder called formulas under the source directory. So according to Envase, any app that you want, anything that you want, for example, let's say MongoDB, it's just a single TypeScript file. So I call it as formula, very similar to Homebrew. So all we do to add an app to Envase is just add a single formula with all its configuration that is needed to create a container for it and let other apps discover it and connect to it. So that's the whole idea behind Envase. Cool guys, awesome. I think it was a hopefully it was a good stream and you guys liked it. I'll probably create another stream where I'm planning to show other use cases that Envase can solve. Hopefully I'll tweet about it. Thanks for joining you guys.